Well, I got the floor cut out. I got that brace put in there, and it seems to be pretty strong. There's really not much in strength in that floor because there's a cross member that runs across here from each side, goes up in the middle, and then same right here. There's a cross member that goes right there. So now I just need to get rid of that brace that I made, that bracket that goes to those, and drop it down at least 2.5 inches back down to this, and then just run a brace that goes straight off of it, or drop it down even further than that. So I'll jack up the car body from the frame, pull those braces out, lower the car down, and then decide exactly how and where I want to put those, build the new braces, and then I'll weld the floor back in over it. I'm going to leave it out while I have, I'm going to weld in a different panel, and I'm going to leave this out while I have access. It cut out pretty decent. Nothing really flexed after I took it out, and this is still really solid. So I think once I weld my flat stock back in, I saved all the edges, all the round over edges. So here I even saved like a 1/2 inch. Here I saved 1 inch or more, just to keep that rigidity. And then once I weld another piece to that, that should be actually even better than it was originally. I still gotta figure out something to press in some strength and rigidity to the panel, but the panel that I'm going to be using is a lot thicker than the factory panel. Or not a lot thicker, but this is probably, I don't know, 20 gauge, and I'm putting in probably 16 gauge, something like that. So it'll turn out pretty decent, I think. And then I should have a pretty decent spot to still put your feet. It's not going to be up more than, I don't know, 1.5 inches higher than it was. So not really gaining much, but hopefully 1.5 inches to 2 inch gain here will get me 3 to 4 inch gain back here. I'm not going to get 4, but I'm at least going to get 3 out of it back at the tire, and then it should look a little bit better. I might get 4 inches of gain back at the rear bumper. Oh, excuse me. And that should put us to where the bumper's not going to look stupid. Right now the bumper looks stupid because the entire bumper is above the frame rails. So if I could gain 4 inches back here, I can put the bumper on and just half of these will be exposed. I'm going to weld a hitch in there anyway, so it won't look completely horrible, I don't think. It's still going to have a stupid amount of rake, but right now this is level with my chin. So that kind of explains to you just how much rake is in this thing. Like it's, here, I'll try to flip my camera around. Yeah, like that's level with my shoulder right there. So it's stupid high. I mean, it looks like a freaking monster truck. I don't like it. I like monster trucks, but I don't like how tall that is. So, well, I got the new sheet fitted and tacked in. I got it. I had to cut it about 3 times. Well, I cut it once, and then I trimmed down the edges for this cornered edge, and then trimmed down this side just a hair, and then this corner, because there's a bevel there. So I got her tacked in now, and just an old piece of sheet tin. It's pretty solid. There's nothing underneath of it as far as support goes or stability, but there wasn't underneath this piece either. So it's just as solid, if not stronger, than what that was as of, now. I don't know how strong it was in 54, but I mean, it's the only bad spot is that one corner right up there. So that's about the same. I'm gonna put a couple pieces of really light duty angle iron underneath of it when I have the cab back up. Or the body, I guess, back up off the frame. I might put a couple pieces of angle iron under there. I was going to do it first, but I want to make sure I got it fitted in, kind of contoured, because that was kind of contoured. And where I have it setting, I want it to be fairly even across here. So if I have to put one of my front seats mounted to here somewhere, it should be pretty even. And then I don't want to put those angles in and then have it right in the way of a mounting bolt or something for a seat. So that's where we're at with that. It's coming along. It sucks welding that small thin sheet metal, but it's a lot better than the new trucks. I mean, I've put a set of rockers in a 2011 or something Ram, and that tin is so thin. And this is a little bit better than that. At least this is still real steel, and I don't know what this is from. I had a whole bunch of it from when I bought my house, was in the garage, and it looks like it's part of an old fridge, maybe, the way it was cut into all the pieces it was, or maybe it's some sort of shelving, but it works out pretty good. Pretty good metal. It's got old paint on it. I'm gonna wire wheel it and paint the whole thing when I wire wheel the rest of the car. I want to wire wheel it outside though, because I try to keep as many dust particles down as possible in the shop. I mean, I've already got that much just from this little project, minus the pine needles, but that's all grinding dust right there, and it's probably ain't too good for your lungs. So I got that tacked in. I'm gonna finish welding it in. I'm just gonna do a whole bunch more tacks. I started out with 1/3 as less tacks as there are now, and I went back around, and I went back around, and I'm gonna go back around 2 or 3 more times, and it should all be tacked fully in, and shouldn't have any holes or anything, exposure to water. I mean, it ain't gonna matter. There ain't no freaking door seals left on this car that are any good. I'm gonna try to find something to put in them, but probably just end up painting the floor and not putting carpet in, or putting indoor-outdoor carpet in that can get wet. But with as high as those humps are, and I don't know, I might just do bed liner too. I hate doing bed liner because it constricts, it holds in moisture more than anything, but I'll probably just do paint, honestly, and it'll be good enough. I may grind down some of these welds, but I'm probably going to leave most of them, just leave the patina of it, I guess, and the hot rod look. And yeah, I mean, like this here, these door seals are missing, those window seals, so whatever's supposed to go there to keep the door from rotting out at the bottom is gone. I guess that window is off track or doesn't want to come up or something now. So, I mean, it's not like this is going to be a watertight car anyway, let alone an airtight car. But anyway, I'm going to finish welding this in, and I'm going to raise the back of the body off the frame and take out my mounts that are in there, and then make new mounts. Figure out something better to make it sit down lower, because right now this is absolutely ridiculous. There's probably, it's sitting on the chassis right now, and there is 4.5 inches between there and the tire. And I want it to be like, 2.5, 3 inches. Maybe 1.5 inches, honestly, would be perfect, because then I could get the back to sit where I want it. And I don't care if I have to run that small tire. I'd rather run a big tire, but I think those are probably a 29 or something. They're 235s, but I'm not sure what the height of them is. Probably a 30. If I could run 33s, that'd be awesome. I guess it's a 30.5. 33 would be 2.5 inches more, so 1.75 inches on each side. So if I've got 4.5 inches, minus 1 3/4 would be 2 3/4. If I could drop this down to where it's 2 3/4, I'll shave that lip off and I'll put some airbags in the rear axle. So when I'm hauling something heavy or putting a bunch of stuff in the trunk or pulling a tongue heavy trailer, I can just put a bunch of air in the airbags and be all right. I'd like to run like a 305 on this car, 305, 5520, or what I'd like to do is run 17s and do like 305, 70, 17, or 65, 17, whatever they're called. Then I'd be like a 32.5-inch tire maybe, and I'd have a good look. But 20s would be all right too. It's just not going to ride as good. Not going to have near as much suspension bounce to it, but this old first-gen coil front suspension should be riding just fine anyway, so maybe 20s would be all right. I've got tons of 20-inch tires. Like, I've got probably 8 sets of 305s and 33s, and I mean, I could, they're all, you know, quarter tread or so, but I could run them and wear those tires out. I don't like running 33s on my pickups because they're dang, they're too, the gear ratio sucks for highway speed. I want to run at least a 35 on all my pickups, even with the ones, even the second gens with 354 gears or 355 gears. I'd rather run a 35 all day than a 33 because it just cruises down the highway and gets decent mileage. 410s just drops from 20 miles a gallon down to like 16, and with $5 and $6 fuel prices right now, it sucks. So I'm gonna get back at it and catch you up on the next one. Well, I got her welded in. Turned out pretty decent. Got one hole there. It just keeps getting thinner and thinner, so I'm gonna probably use some body filler there. This all turned out really good. A lot of slag right there. Must have had some dirt in the weld, or probably just grinding dust more than anything, but yeah, it turned out decent. It's I did grind this edge off with flap disc just so it doesn't catch any feet or nothing, you know. I may put some sort of like rubber corner piece on there, but for now that's welded in. Now I'm gonna raise the body up. I'm making a couple of brackets now. I'm gonna use this. It's like probably 3/16, and I'm cutting out triangles, and then this will be a crease, and that'll be a crease. There'll be a hole here, and then the hole will go to the body mount, and then this side will be welded to the frame of the truck. And then so I'll go to that body mount, and I'll shape like a triangle from here to here, roughly. I mean, it'll be like that. And then it'll be like 2 pieces that come down here that get welded to this, and then this will be just bolted, so that way I can take the body off the car anytime I want. I don't want to weld to the car anywhere, because I know I'm going to have the body off several more times probably. And for future reference, I always want to be able to take the body off in case I decide to pull the motor. It'd be a lot easier just to have the body off. Or if I want to do something different, like get a different body, I can still reuse everything. Or if I want to sell this body and just part everything out when I'm done with it, I can do that too, and the body won't be ruined. So yeah. Plus this will make it, if I decide to sell the car, it'll make it a lot more valuable to see it's not just a hack job. So I'm gonna get to cutting these out and go from there. There, I've got that one cut out and scored. I'm gonna go ahead and bend it. I don't have a brake. I do have a press, but I'm gonna try to bend it by hand with a hammer first and the vise. And then if that doesn't work out too good, then I'll probably use the press. Eventually I want to buy a brake so I can just do stuff like this real quick. But this should work. So I got this bent. It bent pretty easy on the vise. To get my hole measurement, since top of my frame rail ends like right here. So the frame rail is like here. And so I got an extra like 3 inches above. It's hard to get that measurement to the center of that bolt hole. So what it is, I put this up against the frame and then I just marked right there, and I scooted it back on the other side of the hole and was facing the other side of the frame rail, or the other side of the vehicle, I guess, front to back, and marked this one. And so now I can run this square across both of them, draw a line across from here to there, or, man, I can't do this. Draw a line across from here to there with the square, and then center it, and then put my hole right there in the middle, and then it'll line up perfectly once I weld it on there. I'll actually bolt it on, and then I'll weld up the frame, and then I'll unbolt the bolt. I'm doing all the bolt holes, the exact measurement of the bolt right now, and then when I get the body back off the frame, I'm going to drill out all those holes one more step on the step bit. So like say it's a 1/2 inch bolt, I'm drilling them all 1/2 inch right now, and then later on I'll drill them out, what is the next one? 9/16. So it'll be a 1/16 inch larger hole, so that way it'll be easier to find the threads and for it all to line up later on. That way I'm not cross-threading bolts as I'm putting them in later on. But for now I want it all to be perfect, and to get that in there and then weld it up and then pull the bolt out. It might flex a little bit one way or the other because of the amount of heat that I'm putting on the weld. So later on I'll drill the hole, and then I'll be just that much more room. And with all 8 or 10 bolt holes, they should all line up once I have that little bit of extra room in each one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this marked, drilled. I'm gonna weld the insides of these, I think, while they're off. Just because I only scored it probably 1/3 of the way, but you can definitely feel that there's a little bit of it's not torn or nothing, but you can kind of feel, well, it is kind of, you can kind of see that actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld it on the inside, and then that way it'll be strong. You know, with vibration and stuff, if I don't weld that, it could possibly crack, and then I'd have a problem. So we're gonna go ahead and weld them inside, and then on the frame rail we're just welding right here. I'm not doing anything else up here. I think that'll be enough strength from here to here anyway, because the body only sits on this portion of it anyway, and the shear strength is going to be in here anyway, and so then there's going to be this much extra. So I think it'll be good. Plus there'll be a little bit of flex, so it should work. And if it doesn't, we'll come up with something else later on. These are some crazy looking mounts. Trying to get the bodies in the way. This mount is upside down right now. It's for the rear, for the trunk area. That's where it bolts to. The body's in the way right here, and this is where it welds to the frame. And then this is where the leaf springs are. They're right here. They only need like they barely touch. They probably only need 1/8 of an inch cut off, but I want there to be able to be sway with that axle to move side to side if it ever needs to, without rubbing against leaf springs and causing a squeak or a noise. So I'm cutting out a V, and then I'm welding it. So that's 2x2 tubing down to like 1x2, but it'll be strong enough for what it is. It just needs to stabilize the trunk area. It's not even really supporting anything. There's no gussets there. There's no cross members or nothing. It's just flat, just to basically stabilize the trunk area. So this one don't have to be strong, but that's what they look like. There we go. Still got some MIG wire hanging off of it, but She's welded up, and it'll bolt to the car, or it'll weld to the frame and then bolt to the car like so.